Alrighty, so while the Champions League is actually happening right now and I'm actually watching it as I'm recording this video, I'm actually going to record the preview for tomorrow's game and also one game that I forgot to mention yesterday, and it turns out there's actually 12 games that happened yesterday instead of 11 that I talked about, but the one other game that I forgot to mention turns out to be probably the biggest game of the Saturday night action, and that of course is the Atlantic Cup between the New York Redbulls versus DC United, as this one will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff is 7:08 p.m. local time. The Redbulls have a 5-5-3 record, while DC had a 4-2-6 record, and in terms of the all-time Atlantic Cup record, as this being the 99th Atlantic Cup, DC does still have a slight edge, 43-18-37 over their rival, the New York Redbulls. Now, in terms of the last 5 head-to-head Atlantic Cup, including in the U.S. Open Cup, both of these teams, of course, met each other in the U.S. Open Cup, which the Redbulls were able to win 3-0 against DC, but as DC fans will say, they pretty much decided to punt that game. Like, they were basically starting their academy player against a relatively strong Redbulls team, so it was not a big surprise the Redbulls were able to get the victory. But besides the U.S. Open Cup, the last time both of these teams played in the league, it was DC getting the victory, a 1-0 win against the Redbulls. Then it was a 1-1 draw between both of these teams before DC have a 1-0 win against the Redbulls, and then the Redbulls, of course, won 2-0 against DC United. So at least recently it's been kind of even in terms of how this matchup is going to go, but obviously, you know, for the Redbulls, knowing that this has just been such an odd season for them, and that their odd season kind of finally started to turn a little normal with them losing their first road game, you wonder, is this maybe going to be the game where it kind of buckle that trends, where after a great road record that they had and they finally suffered their first loss, is this going to be a trend now that's going to be the case in their home form, where it's been a terrible home form of them, I think, being the only team to have yet to win at home, and is this finally the game to do so? And if it is, what a way to do it against your rival, that is DC United, who, you know, they definitely want to get a win on the road. And, you know, this is also a team that I don't think DC have actually got a win so far this season on the road. I mean, they're one of those many teams that are 0 for when it comes to their road form, so we'll see whether they can get their first road win, and, you know, if they can do so, then what a way to get your first road win against your rival, that is the New York Redbulls. But now moving on, in terms of talk about the Sunday game and what I was supposed to talk about in today's video, and we start off with the LA Galaxy versus Austin FC. So as I mentioned, you know, unfortunately for this week, it seems like the Twitter games decided that the Twitter game masters decided that they're going to have 2 Twitter games this week, and that they decided to have a rare Sunday one in this one. And again, normally this game should have been on ESPN and probably should have been on ESPN, but this one is going to be on Twitter /2DN, as this game between the Galaxy and Austin FC will kick off at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and it actually kicked off right around the same time, like only 1 minute than what it's advertised, which at that point you might as well just kind of put it at a 3 o'clock kickoff time. And also this game, I believe they also changed the kickoff time for this. I have no idea why that is the case. I guess maybe they changed it because, you know, I think maybe this is a game that ESPN was supposed to take, and now it seems like Twitter is basically taking this one. Now, the Galaxy have a 6-2-5 record, while Austin have a 7-3-3 record, but don't let that good record for both of these teams distract you from the fact that, you know, both of these teams desperately need a win. I mean, for the Galaxy, they desperately need a win because their home form has been pretty bad lately. Like, they have given up back-to-back games with 3 goals to their opposition, and I talk about, you know, this Galaxy team. You know, it feels like this season is something similar to last season, except this season, you know, unlike last season where they were good for the first half of the season and they hit a nosedive, they're already hitting that nosedive right now. And it's also interesting to see that, you know, coming into this game, where they have a letdown after a big El Tráfico win that they had against LAFC, and especially against an Austin team that, you know, that this might be a revenge game for them. Like, they definitely want to get some revenge after them playing really the first of what would be a very tough stretch that Austin, of course, are going through. And you could argue that this might be the easiest game for Austin to have on the road, because when you look at other opponents that they face on the road, the Galaxy are probably one that is not in the best of form. So you know that they want to get some revenge in this one, and we'll see whether or not if Los Verde is going to get that revenge in this one. But now moving on into the last game of match week number 14, and really the last game that we will have a full slate of action until mid-June is the Seattle Sounders versus Charlotte FC. So this game will start at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff is 6:55 p.m. local time. And because the kickoff is 25 minutes after advertised time, you know this game is going to be on the Fox network, and indeed it is. It's going to be on FS1. Seattle has a 4-1-6 record, while Charlotte have a 5-1-7 record. This, of course, is the first ever meeting between both of these teams, as it is the case for whenever Charlotte play against a Western Conference team. But the key points coming into this game is that, you know, for the Sounders, they actually been very good against expansion team at home. Their record is 4-4-1. The only time that they lost to an expansion team was LAFC back in 2018 when they lost 1-0. And even then, that was a game where the Sounders were incredibly unlucky. Like, I remember that was the game where the Sounders basically pepper sprayed the Tyler Miller goal, but with the brilliance of Tyler Miller and also Diego Rossi. Remember that guy that LAFC sold just a year ago? Him scoring the first ever goal for LAFC. That was kind of the difference in this one, and you know, Charlotte would look to try to do so and to do the same thing what LAFC did. And you know, some say that maybe it's impossible, but so far they have really defied all expectation. Like, this is supposed to be a team that coming into this season, we talk about how they weren't supposed to be good, and the whole meme about they are indeed screwed. But right now they are definitely holding firm, and they are definitely outperforming compared to what we saw last year with Austin FC, or even with some of these other teams that of course made it to the league as an expansion side. So, you know, we'll see whether or not if Charlotte can once again defy all expectation. I mean, the only thing that will definitely continue to defy all logic and expectation is the fact that they get their first road win, and it come in one of the toughest places to get road win, that it is Newman's Field in Seattle. But we'll see if that, of course, is going to be the case. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the preview of these free games. Again, it's a relatively quick preview because there's really not much game to talk about. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these free games, and make sure you leave your comments below your prediction for all three of these games. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.